This is Dave Pellegrinelli at AFX. You'll probably hear from one of our websites, either titlesearch.com with regard to real estate title searches. You may have visited us through titlerecovery.com, which has to do with obtaining hard to find vehicle titles or hard to place situations. You may also be here because of our investigative enterprise, which is AFX Search. Corporation, which is afxsearch.com. We do private investigations, asset recovery. If you're seeing this video and we're not live, you can also reach us through a couple other sources. In the upper, should be the upper left-hand corner of your screen up there, there's a little live chat button, which if we're not on live video, you can reach us through that button. If this video is live, or if you come back later to see a live video, on the right-hand side of this video screen, there's a section where you can type in questions that we'll answer live through this video screen and video enterprise. As always, our phone number is toll-free, 877-848-5337. You can reach customer service and sales. We have 4 questions today from the different sections. First is a foreclosure related question, and first of all, we're seeing a lot more activity from our foreclosure investor clients, clients which we've been doing business with for over a decade. Their volume of orders is up dramatically. It seems like in the foreclosure investing arena, there's a lot more interest in these properties. From talking to some of our investor clients, they're seeing more upside potential and better deals on the auctions. And one of the questions came in from a potential client which had to do with mortgage priority, how to determine the priority of mortgages on the title search. Once you receive our title search, you'll notice there's a section listing the different mortgages. There may be more than one mortgage on that property. And the question is, which one has first priority? If you're bidding on an auction that has to do with one of those mortgages, you want to make sure that the mortgage that you're buying is in the first position. Otherwise, the other mortgage that's there will have priority over yours, and you may have to pay that one off. The way to do that is look at the recorded date of that mortgage. In most cases, the recorded date will give priority if all other things are equal. If the type of recording is the same, if it's a mortgage versus a lien, you want to look at that priority. Again, it's an area where you want to get good legal advice from an attorney, but the typical rule of thumb for priority of property rights is first in time, first in right. The first one that got recorded is the first priority. Now there may be some other variables that make one item have more priority over another. It could be if it's a government lien, that may jump ahead. There are some super liens which jump ahead in priority. You want to make sure you understand the statutes in that geographical area, and also whether or not there's other legal devices within those documents which jump ahead. But first in time, first in right is a good place to start. So look at the dates, and also look at the recording date, not necessarily the signature date. A mortgage may have been signed on one day, but it may have taken some time to get down and got recorded. If you have questions, call us up. Second little note question, it's actually an update, is from our investigative side. Working on an investigation right now where the case is for a client who has a judgment against another party. It's a pretty significant judgment, it's in the 6 figures, and the other party is claiming to not have any assets, have no money, nothing to collect from. And we're finding that there were transfers of assets and cash long prior to this judgment, 6, 8, 9 months prior to the judgment. So the question is, how can we find those assets if they're not currently in the debtor's name? And we're finding to go back through the flow of funds to show that there was deliberate transfers of assets. Some was real estate, some was hard assets, vessels, in this case an aircraft, and also cash assets that were transferred to other parties. And in some cases it was transferred the form of those assets. One was a vehicle asset that was converted into a financial asset. In this case it was a retirement account, but also vested in another person's name. So the question was, can we track those back and find out how all those flow of funds happen? And the answer is yes. We've tracked those back and show that there were deliberate transfers of those assets to another party. and then make the connection to that from that party to our subject debtor, so that the legal process of collection can occur. The first thing is to find out where the assets are, which we did, so they can then be garnished. The third question has to do with vehicle titles. A client asked us about can they get a title using the mechanics lien or bonded title process. It's an excellent question. It's an area where we have a lot of inquiry about our title recovery process for vehicle titles does not include any use of mechanics liens or bonded title process, especially mechanics liens. Look, there's a legitimate process to use a mechanics lien on a vehicle to get a title. It's specifically used for a legitimate licensed repair facility that had a car in their garage that wasn't paid for or had too much storage, and then they're using that mechanics lien to get their bill paid. It's not designed to get the title for that garage to own the car. The way that it works in most states is the garage is required to attempt to contact the owner, send certified mail to known addresses or registered addresses, and then to post a series of advertisements in what's called the legal organ, which is the licensed newspaper for that area, which carries all the legal notices. And you've seen that newspaper. It's got all the foreclosure notices and death notices and the maybe even probate notices. They have to post that ad for 3 or 4 consecutive weeks about a public auction. So that car has to be placed for auction to the general public. So the bid is a legitimate fair bid, fair market value for that car. The point of that is to protect that vehicle owner from having their vehicle taken over for a low amount by the repair facility. Other people have to be able to bid on it. The highest bid gets the car. It may not be the repair facility. The repair facility may be able to put in a bid of their own. Some states prohibit that, but it goes to the highest bidder. What happens is a lot of repair facilities will use that process to get titles for other people. To say, look, if you have a car you don't have a title for, I'll run this VIN number through the mechanics lien process and get a title, and then I'll sign it over to you for a fee. The problem with that is it's not what really happened. The mechanics lien process requires that repair facility to sign a document saying, under oath, the car was in my garage, I did work on it, or I did storage on it, they didn't pay the bill, and that's what this mechanics lien is for. Well, that car, in this case, wasn't actually there. So the owner of that car in the future may come forward and say, hey, that's my car, I want it back. So now your title that you received from that mechanics lien process is no good, and it can be made invalid. Even if you are figuring that the person who had that vehicle is not going to come back, as you know the story, state DMVs are auditing these mechanics lien process regularly. They know it's ripe for misuse, and they want to make sure that the garages are not doing this. So if there's a garage that's sending in more mechanics lien applications than seems like would make sense for their volume or their area, they're going to get audited. They're going to find all these titles, and they may, pull back some of these titles for vehicles, and it could be costly for the owner. Last question for today, for real estate titles, to find out, is there a way to determine if a lien on a property is actually active or assigned to another person? So you have a lien on a property. How can you find out if that lien is still active, or it's been assigned, or it's been canceled out? Well, the easy answer is you have to look for a second document. Is there a lien assignment? Is there a lien release? It's not recorded in the same place as that first lien document. It may be recorded in a different area. So you have to find that other lien release using the name index. It may be assigned to another investor or another buyer. You yourself might be looking at liens because you're looking to invest in tax liens or other property liens. Keep in mind that investing in tax liens may have redemption rights. So the property owner may have the right to redeem against that lien. There also might be collection rights for the investor. So if you're looking at a lien that's already been assigned, that investor may have rights of collection and even rights of interest or penalties due to them beyond the value of the lien. So keep an eye on that as you're looking at these property liens. Again, when you receive your title search from us, you'll see that listed. You can always ask us questions about some of the areas other than course, legal advice. So keep an eye on this video screen. We are here live most of the time throughout the day, so if you have questions, again, look at that little box on the right-hand side. You can type in questions there. We either answer them live if we're here. If we're not, we put them back on this video at a later date. Next up in the next recording will probably be information about property easements. That's come up quite a bit. And also mineral rights. Mineral rights have been a pretty big area of interest with the energy values being what they are. So until next time, we'll talk to you then.